know what I mean? All right, let's move on to Tim Legler, right? And we'll just keep it with the GOAT thing. You know what I mean? We having a conversation about this, right? So Tim Legler recently gave his all-time top 10, and it caused a lot of noise. So it was on ESPN. He gave his top 10, and I'm gonna play it for you. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can set it up, because I'm gonna have to pause it, because it's a long clip. It's a long clip, so I'm gonna have to pause it while I play it. So, basically, I go ahead and give you his top 3. He had Mike, LeBron, and Kareem. He had LeBron at number 2. What I thought was interesting, though, is when he gave his top 3, and he said it was obviously Mike at 1, and he spoke about, the 6 rings, that tells you something about this guy, right? Then he got the LeBron, and he was like, in LeBron number 2, and he was like, we talk about a LeBron, like he just glossed over it. He didn't really say why. He was just like, oh, it's LeBron. And then he got the Kareem, and then he talked about Kareem's glorious career from high school to college to the NBA. And he talked about his 6 finals MVP, or his 6 MVPs and his 6 rings. But I was like, why he didn't have more to say about LeBron? I thought that was interesting. I was like, do people really not have anything outside of 40,000 points, points, rebounds, and assists to say about LeBron? I thought that was interesting. And then when he got toward the top 10, on the back end of the top 10, he mentioned Kobe, and then he was like, Kobe is just like Mike. Obviously he got 5 rings, and he's just like Mike. Killer mentality, great scorer, great on both sides of the court, right? And then he got to number 10, and he said Steph Curry, and he was like, yeah, he's got the 4 rings, and all this stuff. And I'm like, that's interesting, right? He mentioned the rings a lot. I'm like, but what's different about Steph Curry and his rings is that 2 of them was really Kevin Durant's rings. I thought that was interesting, right? And if you don't think that the 2 rings that Steph won with Golden State while Kevin Durant was leading that team, I'm interested on why you don't think that the 4 rings that LeBron has, you have to kind of think the same way about him going to Miami on Wade's team. Like I'm trying to figure out what's the difference between Wade and inviting LeBron to his team, and then LeBron leading that team to 2 rings, while LeBron gets the credit for those 2 rings. But when Kevin Durant did it, when Steph invited him there and Kevin Durant got those 2 rings and 2 finals MVPs, we give the credit to Steph. I thought that was interesting. We'll get to that part, but listen to how he broke this down.
Going to let any list go unquestioned ever. They check it twice. Tim, they came for you. Even though you're actually had a pretty good point, it was pretty measured. I think it's time to solidify your top 10 here.
First of all, let me address these people that were coming at me, okay? I had people sending me top 10 lists with 12 names on it. Folks, do the math. That's why this is a hard exercise. Sinead, right. That's the whole point of what I'm saying. Now, here's the thing. It's an opinion. Like, if you say your favorite color is blue or yours is yellow, I am not going to say purple's a better color. You're wrong.
Someone on social
It's subjective, right? Somebody on social media will.
All right, that's the preamble.
My opinion, right? Now, there's tiers to this thing.
Level.
So there's 3 for me. No debate whatsoever. You're going to get the hair up on my neck. You want to try to debate me on these 3. I'm going to go MJ 1. You got LeBron and Kareem. That's 1, 2, 3 for me. MJ 6 for 6 in the finals speaks a lot to me. The fact that he won all of those at one franchise means a lot to me. LeBron James, obviously, we've talked about him enough. Everybody knows where LeBron James ranks historically. Some people even have him number 1. I think he's the only guy that's a legitimate debate with Michael Jordan for the top spot. For me, it's MJ. And then Kareem, one guy's got 6 MVPs, 6 rings. It's that guy. He also had 3 titles in college. So Kareem, for me, Cap, and also one of the most unstoppable offensive individual shots this league has ever seen. Skyhook, scoring leader for years and years and years. Those are my top 3. Not debatable.
All right, so he said that's not debatable. Those top 3, right? He gave reasoning for Mike. He gave reasoning for Kareem, but for LeBron, he was just like, everybody know what LeBron ranks. Like, no, everybody don't know. I don't have him number 2. I would like to hear why the great Tim Legler has him ranked number 2, but he didn't give us that luxury to hear why he got LeBron ranked at number 2. He just said, hey, man, we all know where he ranks at. It's like, all right, look, man, we've all agreed, because it's been said so many times that LeBron is right behind Mike. LeBron is right behind Mike. It's almost like they purposely threw him in the GOAT conversation, knowing he didn't have a chance to be compared with MJ, but that automatically puts you at number 2. If we're comparing you with MJ and it's always a debate, at the worst, you fall to number 2. Of course, we know you're not better than Mike. But we skipped everyone else. We didn't debate you with nobody else up the list. We took you right to MJ, take me to the king, right to the king, debated it. It was obviously not a debate, but now you fall to number 2. That's what it is. So we've said it and repeated it so many times that it's almost the truth now. Like he said, we all know what LeBron is at, number 2. No, we don't know that. What do you mean we all know where he's at? And you don't give no reasoning to why you got him number 2. And here's another thing I don't like about how Tim Legler and a lot of people do this thing with the GOAT debate, right? Where he said it was subjective and everybody, got their own personal list. Okay, that could be, I can agree with that, right? I can get with that. It's personal, right? But what I don't like, I still want to see some type of integrity even with a personal list, because just because it's just your personal list don't mean that you could just not have a criteria at all. Like I want to know why. Like if you're going to share it with the public, I want to know why you created this, and it shouldn't be different for every person, right? That's not how criteria work. That's not how you judge people. That's not how you list or rank people. Imagine me ranking who I don't know who the who the best anything is, and we use a different grading scale for this player, and we use a more strenuous grading scale for this player, but for this player we use a more linear grading scale. Like, how is that even a cool thing, right? So for MJ, 6 rings and 6-0, and for Kareem, he had to get 6 MVPs and 6 rings. They both had to get 6 rings, but for LeBron, 4 is okay, and we all know that he's number 2. Like that's all. That's how they graded him. Oh, 4 is okay. Like Mike got 6, Kareem got 6, LeBron, we all know he's number 2. Who got a harder grading scale? Like what are they grading LeBron on? What are they grading him on? No one ever mentioned Kareem being the GOAT because he had the record in scoring, because we know he played 1,000 years like a dinosaur to get those points. It's not that impressive. Now that LeBron's doing it, it's impressive, right? So one player had to get 6 rings to be number 1, and one player had to get 6 rings to be number 3, but all LeBron got to do is win 4 times on super teams. That's a harder grading scale, right? So just keep that in mind, that grading scale for LeBron.
These are the top 3, not debatable. Perk, you're our list captain on this show. I'm just checking with you. Not debatable, yeah?
I mean, you know what? Like Legs say, it's your preference. Some people like to drink Ciroc. Some people like to drink Hennessy. At the end of the day, they both get you drunk. I'm not mad at these top 3 right here. I'm not mad at these top 3 at all. I would have Braun at number 1. But again, watching Jordan on those highlights remind you again, is like, it have you rethinking things. But again, that's why it's a conversation.
Exactly.
I'm not mad
you good with us seeing the next 3?
I am absolutely
All right.
great with this.
Let's see the next 3.
Next three also for me, I think they have to be in your top 10 somewhere. For me, I think these three guys will be in that 4, 5, 6 category. When you look at Wilt, Bill Russell, Magic Johnson, greatest floor leader this league has ever seen, greatest point guard. Bill Russell, the ultimate winner. Nobody did it at a higher level. And then Wilt Chamberlain, what he did statistically in separating from the guys that played during his era, and even to this day, when you look at any sort of record list, Wilt Chamberlain's name's going to appear on any list more than anybody else's. The physical dominance that he brought to the game and how unique he was. For me, those three guys absolutely have to be in your top 10. Again, non-negotiable for me.
Yeah, historically.
All right, so the next three guys, Wilt, Magic, and Bill Russell. Russell, 11 rings. Dominant force defensively. Okay offensively. But the 11 rings is like a big deal. Magic, 5 rings. 5 rings. A lot of MVPs. I mean, that's a lot of heavy lifting. Wilt, almost all, just record book, just took all the records all over the place, scored 100 points, all this crazy stuff, didn't win as much. Right? So I get why how Wilt is outside of the top 5, he's actually in the top 5, but I get why he's on, he's not in the top 3. He didn't win as much. I get why Kareem was ahead of him. I get why MJ is ahead of him. I even get why LeBron's ahead of him, right? But I'm still looking at what other players had to do to be considered great. Wilt had to get almost every record in the record book. Magic had to win 5 times and be as great as he was. Kareem had to win 6 times. Mike had to win 6 times. Russell had to win 11 times. LeBron 3 times is enough with a bubble ring, 4 times on super teams. I think that's interesting.
Yes, I like this with the championships going from time to time, so I'm here with this.
Okay, so that means we have 4 spots left here, Tim. Look at the names maybe we haven't mentioned yet here. We're talking about.
We got another list, all right? And look, by the way, I think the graphic was too big. We ran out of some space. I think Hakeem could probably be in this along in this group.
He finishing off his top 10. He said, he's showing the list on TV, and he was like, Hakeem could probably be in this, but he's not. Hakeem repeated 2 straight MVP season, MVP and Defensive Player of the Year in the same year. Probably the best center that we've ever seen besides Kareem and Wilt, maybe. At the very least, Hakeem's the third best center we've ever seen, right? For me, here's the standard, right? But he's not in the top 10. He's outside of it. He got Shaq in it, though. He got Duncan in it. But listen.
I think Kevin Durant even can technically be a guy you'd say, hey, he's a top 10 talent of all time, if not a top 10 career. But this is what I reduced it to, these 6. So it comes down to this.
So he said KD could probably be in there. He's definitely a top 10 talent, but he might not have the top 10 resume, which is interesting because he's got an MVP. He's got 2 finals MVPs. He got 2 finals, and he's got 3 finals appearances. Right. I don't think his resume is horrible. He's gonna finish as a top 5 scorer of all time. I don't think his resume is horrible. He's been a 50-40-90 guy. Right. He's got 3 gold medals, maybe 4. He's got the all-time leading scorer in Olympic history for Team USA. So he's got some things. The gold medal that he got, not this time, but the last time, where his best player was Jason Tatum, who couldn't even get off the bench on this team, which lets you know how crazy stacked this team was. But when Kevin Durant played, his second best player was Tatum and Booker. And then he was surrounded with JaVale McGee and Keldon Johnson, Draymond Green. Like, these are the guys he went down there. They lost a game early, and then he put the team on his back, went straight to the gold medal, and destroyed people. Right? So he actually led a team for real to the gold. Right? And he's got 3 or 4 gold medals, all-time scorer. I think his resume is pretty good. So to say he's top 10 talent but not top 10 resume, I'm interested to see what is explanation for having Steph in?
Pick 4.
Yeah.
And make your arguments, and you're not wrong, by the way. So I'm going to go chronological order for me. I got to put Larry Bird in there. And now, look, this is where I have the one little bit of personal bias.
Okay.
My favorite athlete of all time. He changed the course of my life, literally, because I was a baseball guy till Bird came into the league. I love those Celtics teams in the 80s. It was right when I was going into high school when he got to the NBA, and it really changed what I wanted to do with the course of my life. There's a reason I've got a picture of Bird and Magic behind me on a lot of my home hits, because it always reminds me of that era of basketball and why I fell in love with the NBA so much. So I've got to put Larry Bird in there. And then I'm going to go next with Kobe Bryant. I'm going to put Kobe in that top 10. I think for me, closest physical profile to Michael Jordan. But
another hard thing to do. You got Michael Jordan as the GOAT and the best player you ever seen. And for Kobe to get in the top 10, he had to be just as good as Michael Jordan and win 5 championships and play both sides of the ball his whole career. Be one of the best defensive players that's even in the top 10. Like, if you look at the top 10, there's only 2 or 3 defensive specialists or anything close to a defensive specialist. And that's Mike, that's Kobe, and that's probably Russell, if you got him in there. But Russell is he's not the offensive player that Mike and Kobe is. And Hakeem, right? So you take Russell out of it, for a guy to be the primary go-to guy for points for their team their whole career, and then also be a defensive stopper, a great defender, Kobe, Mike, Hakeem, maybe Duncan in the list. And then Duncan wasn't even relied upon for points his whole career in San Antonio. So take Duncan off. Kobe, Hakeem, Mike in the list. Anybody in the top 10 that had that responsibility. Right? So Kobe had to be a great defender on both sides of the ball his whole career, a great scorer, a great off-ball player, win 5 championships, and get his game just as good as the GOAT to be in the top 10. But LeBron, all he had to do was get 3 rings and a bubble ring, not be that good defensively, not play defense his whole career, form super teams, and then definitely don't reach the level of the GOAT as far as how good you are as a player on both ends of the floor. But for Kobe to be in the top 10, he had to do all of those things. LeBron didn't, for him to be number 2. I think that's interesting.
Similar size, very similar game, 2-way player, incredibly intense and motivating.
He said the best 2-way player. Lord have mercy. Why Mike had to be the best 2-way player and Kobe had to be the best 2-way player to get in the top 10, but LeBron didn't.
Also, tremendous clutch player, was not afraid of the bright lights. In fact, relished it. And I think getting those 2 rings after he separated from Shaq cemented it for me with Kobe Bryant and winning those 2 titles with Pau Gasol. Next, we're going to go Shaq. I look at Shaq and I go,
Kobe 3-peated and 2-peated. LeBron never 3-peated. He 2-peated with a super team. Kobe beat a super team when he 2-peated. Just saying.
Most physical, dominant, offensive force during his time. Unstoppable force. Of course, had to pair up with Kobe to get those rings, but won 3 finals MVPs alongside another guy that I just said is a top 10 player of all time. And he got all 3 of those finals MVPs. Shaq in his prime, people can forget about that. I got a taste of that as well. I did get to play against Shaq also in his early years, the leaner Shaq years, actually. And then
there's only one left.
There's one left. My last spot, Steph Curry.
Oh, okay.
I said it. I'm gonna back it up. I'm putting Curry in there.
Steph Curry over Hakeem is diabolical. Steph Curry over Isaiah is diabolical. All right, so listen to this though.
4 rings, and
he said 4 rings. So he does have 4 rings. He got 2 rings as the number 1. He got 2 rings as the number 2. Kevin Durant got 2 rings as the number 2. I mean, as the number 1, right? On Steph Curry's team, right? So when you really look at what they done as the number one, KD got 2, Steph got 2, right? But as in totality, Steph got 4, right? But if you're gonna include that his rings as a reason why you have him in the top 10, I think you should mention that, oh man, he was the number 2, because that's what they do to Kobe. Like when they mention Kobe's 5 rings, they be like, well, 3 of them was with Shaq as the number 1. He was the number 2. Well, 2 of Steph Curry's is with Kevin Durant as the number 1. And I think it's very rich that Kevin Durant gets taxed for joining Steph Curry and the Warriors and winning 2 rings and being the leader on that team and the finals MVP for those teams that won 2 rings and almost got them a 3rd one until he got hurt. I think it's rich that he gets taxed for it and we act like those 2 rings don't count, but we just count them towards Steph. And then it's also rich that when you look at the similar situation of LeBron James going to Miami and him leading Miami when it was Wade's team and he already won with that Miami organization, but we count those rings toward the 4 rings that LeBron got. I just think it's rich that LeBron gets total credit for his 4 and Steph get total credit for his 4, but somehow Kevin Durant's 2, we not gonna really count those, right? I think that's funny. And what makes it mad is that everybody be like, well, Steph won without Kevin Durant, he won before and after. So what does that mean? Does that mean that the 2 that he won with Kevin Durant, all of a sudden we just go act like Kevin Durant didn't lead that squad, right? Like it's almost like you can't be R. Kelly and make the sex tape and then go make Heaven I Need a Heart and then we forget about that sex tape. So that's what Steph did. We can't forget the fact that you actually was a number 2 behind Kevin Durant. You actually needed him to beat LeBron. Kevin Durant actually led y'all to the finals and to the championship, and through that finals and that championship, got finals MVP both years. And then because you won after Kevin Durant left, that we just going to pretend like those 2 that you won with Kevin Durant didn't happen. We're gonna just pretend like Kevin Durant wasn't there. Like that good deed that you did without Kevin Durant means that you would have won those 2 if Kevin Durant wouldn't have showed up. That's what people want us to believe. Like, oh man, because he won before KD and after KD, that means that the 2 he won with KD, he still would have got those 2 had KD never showed up. They want us to believe that. And then they want us to tell us that Kevin Durant would have never won a ring if he never went to the Warriors. This is crazy witchcraft work to me, the way they think, right?
I think, listen, here's what plays into it for me also. It's obviously stats, it's winning, it's personal accolades, it's all that. I think there's another element to it of must-see TV and also how singularly unique you are. There's one Steph Curry historically. There's nothing been anything close to what Steph Curry does, how he plays, and the way he makes guys better without touching the ball. Yeah. It's unlike anything this league has ever seen. And he's got now some Hall of Famers next to him in large part because of him. Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Steve Kerr. All those guys are going to be Hall of Famers in large part to his talent.
So this
storyline, I think that was diabolical. I mean, it's his personal top 10, cool. But like your reasoning, I mean, your reasoning just be so weird when people try to, come up with that stuff, man. I think I got mine. Let me see if I can pull mine up. Do I got mine? No, that's my MVP list. How about this? I'll just do this. I'll pull it up from here because I got it here. Here's my pyramid, and of course I got MJ up top. I got Kareem too, and I got Mike and Kareem both in my top 3, just like Tim did. But instead of LeBron, I got Kobe there. Because like I said, I grade the player before I start looking at their resume. Like you give me the names of the greatest players, let me grade how complete they are as a player. right? And then let me grade their resume. And when I add both of those together, that's gonna have you where I put you in my top 7 tiers, right? So I got Kobe 3. There's Wilt 4, Bird 5, Magic 6, Russell 7. Then Duncan, then Hakeem. Now that's very hard, the Duncan and Hakeem thing. I mean that is very hard. But the resume for Duncan, as far as winning, supersedes Hakeem's. It was very hard for me to put Russell and Duncan ahead of King. It was very hard for me to put Wilt ahead of Hakeem. I really want Hakeem to be right after Kareem. And I think as a player, Hakeem might be the best outside of Kareem for big men. But the resume is really good, but those other guys that's how I got it. And then I got LeBron after that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got LeBron in my top 10 at number 10. Right? LeBron is probably the first deck stacker and the only deck stacker I got in my top 10. So I'm giving LeBron a lot of credit. He's the only deck stacker in my top 10. The most diabolical deck stackers in this previous era of basketball and the era right before this one, it's Dwayne Wade, LeBron, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and Shaq. Those deck stackers are diabolical, right? Whatever penalty you tax Kevin Durant with, you must tax Wade, LeBron, Bosh, Shaq. You must tax all, and Steph. You must tax them with the same exact tax for stacking the deck. Right. So Shaq number 11, Isaiah. What people really do that's weird is if you ask who the top 5 point guards is of all time, they say Magic, then Isaiah, and then the debate becomes, is Steph number 3 or is Oscar Robertson number 3? There's a debate there, right? With recency bias, with Steph getting the record and his most recent championship and stuff like that, people would want to put him above Oscar very easily. And then some people started putting him above Isaiah and trying to start the debate between him and Magic, but that died out really quick. And seeing Sacramento handle them the way they did, it really don't have a lot of legs to stand on, right? Because without the whistle, Steph Curry would not be this player that everybody think he is, right? That whistle helps a lot, right? So when all actuality, people will actually put Magic and Isaiah over Steph as a top 5 point guard, but when they start ranking the GOAT list, all of a sudden Steph gets ahead of Isaiah, and I'm like, how did that happen? Like, most people will admit, even Michael Jordan would admit, that after Magic, Isaiah is the best point guard we've ever seen. And a lot of people will admit that. But then when they talk about GOAT, they don't mention Isaiah and they go straight to Steph. I think that's very I think that's very weird. Right. So Isaiah, then KD, Oscar, and Steph. Right. So that's how I do my list. And everything after that is really debatable. I probably missed out on having Elgin Baylor and Jerry West somewhere on there. That last tier, I probably would rearrange it because on second thought, I don't think Barkley should be above David Robinson. I don't think he's that high. So everything on 6 and 7 can be readjusted, but I'm pretty set on my first 5 tiers for sure. Right. So that's how I got it. And like I said, I grade the player, and then I grade the resume, and that's how I got it. I open the phone lines up though for sure. Let me see if I can get this picture corrected. I open the phone lines up while I read these comments. I'm only taking 2 calls on this one. They're gonna be short calls. Call in, let me know what y'all think about Tim Legler's top 10. And how you come about your top 10 list, and if you agree with how I did my top 10 list. You said, where do I have Shaq? What do you have, Shaq? What do you think Shaq should be at? I had Shaq at number 11. You want him to go higher? You think Shaq better than Hakeem? Right? I don't think Shaq better than Hakeem. I don't think he better than Wilt. I don't think he better than Kareem. Yeah, so it's gonna be very hard for you to, convince me that Shaq should be. LeBron isn't even the best small forward ever. That's Larry Legend. You know what? I go back and forth on that. Sometimes sometimes I think it's LeBron, sometimes I think it's Larry. But I got Larry ahead of LeBron on this list. So you're right, Larry is the best small forward. And the second best small forward, there's a debate for LeBron and KD, to be honest with you. It ain't just a foregone conclusion that it's LeBron. KD actually have an argument. So go figure. Other comments. All right, so we're not gonna get phone calls on this one. So I go. Oh, we do get a phone call. That caller from Texas, you can call back. I just missed your call. Caller from Mississippi, cut YouTube off in the background so I can not hear the echo.
Yeah, can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. What's good?
Yeah, I think Shaq should be higher.
You think so? How high?
Yeah,
higher than number 11.
Better than Duncan. Yeah, he's better than Duncan.
You think so?
Yeah, man, Duncan can't hold Shaq, man. You know that.
I mean, nobody can hold Shaq, but I don't think he's better than Duncan.
Yeah, he's better than Duncan.
You think so? Why?
Yeah, because he can stop Duncan more than Duncan can stop him.
Yeah, but that's a different conversation. How is he better than Duncan?
His attributes.
What attributes?
His force, his power, his brute strength.
Yeah, so that means he's stronger than Duncan, more powerful than Duncan, more physically dominant than Duncan, not better. Who's the better basketball player?
You're looking at the better basketball player who can go off the glass.
No. Just who's the better basketball player? Like if learning the game of basketball means that you had to master everything about basketball, who mastered more of basketball, Shaq or Duncan?
Yeah, well, Duncan.
All right, so that means Duncan's the better player. Yeah, so that means Duncan's the better player.
So you can use that analogy on anybody.
Well, I mean, you can use
you get a street player that can dribble better than.
No, I didn't say who dribbles the best. I said who mastered more of basketball.
I'm just saying for his skill. Yeah.
Right. I'm asking, like, that's how I do it. Like, who mastered the most of basketball? Like, remember, we got a handful of guys that could be in the argument for top 10.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
I like your list though.
Right.
I like your list.
So we get those 10 to 12 guys, and then we say, all right, let's rack them and stack them. And the first thing I'm asking is, who's the better basketball player? And then I rack them that way. And then I say, okay, what did they do in their career with their basketball talent? Who won the most?
But you know what I think about Shaq though? I think Shaq have a lot of resentment for himself by not achieving what he needs to achieve.
What you mean?
Like nowadays he's looking at Embiid getting a lot of awards, Joker's getting a lot of awards, and he kind of envy that. Not that he envied them, that he didn't maximize his potential to achieve more than what he achieved. Because Shaq supposed to have more than one MVP in the league.
Well, I don't think that was Shaq's fault. That was just, I mean, that's how the voters, voters psych themselves out.
Like Kobe said, during the off season, he don't, he don't work on his game, and
that was true.
It takes 6 weeks for him to get in shape.
Yeah, true.
And
I mean, I think that I don't think Shaq regrets any of that because he could have not did that. He knew better at the time that he was doing it, and he had a good reason. He had an excuse that he thought was good on why he didn't do it.
Let me ask you this right here.
Go ahead.
If Shaq had Kobe mindset, what do you think Shaq would be ranked?
I don't know. I don't know if Kobe's mindset would I don't know if it'd change anything because so if he had Kobe's mindset and Kobe's work ethic, that means he would have been out there trying to get just as good as Hakeem was on the low post. So instead of me just but I mean
one nobody on the block like Hakeem.
Yeah, but at 7'1", and Shaq, by his own admittance, said that he got up to like 380 at times. Exactly. So but I think when he was in LA, he might have been around 330 at his best. But I think the last year in LA, he got up to like maybe 350, 360. Like he was huge, right? So if you're that big, why would you use anything other than just your strength to just dunk?
Exactly.
You get what I'm saying? So like, it's hard to ask me if he had Kobe's work ethic, because if he had Kobe's work ethic, he would never be big and out of shape and fat. Like he would have stayed Dwight Howard size.
Yeah.
Right. So he would have stayed like he was at Orlando. He would have been a lot like Dwight Howard.
I like Dwight Howard on the list. People forget about Howard, man.
They do. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he don't get a lot of respect, like he should.
Yeah, I mean, like Dwight as a defender, if you just take away his offense, Dwight as a defender is a Hall of Famer and a top 75 player, right? Because Mutombo gets credit for being all Mutombo did was block shots, right?
Yeah, that's it.
He wasn't even a good defender as far as like switching on screens and guarding perimeter, right? And he definitely wasn't a good post defender, but as a shot blocker, he was unreal. Yeah. As a shot blocker, Alonzo Mourning was unreal, right? Those guys got in the Hall of Fame just for blocking shots. And here it is, Dwight was blocking shots just like them, but he was also defending the perimeter on screen and rolls. He also was guarding the post.
Yeah, he was a better perimeter defender than them.
Correct. And he also was scoring points and leading his team to the finals.
Yeah, exactly. He did that, man.
So for Dwight not to get the love is insane.
Yeah, exactly.
Insane.
Yeah. Yeah, I love your show, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, big dog.
Yeah, I love it, man. Yeah, that's all I do. I don't watch TV. I don't watch no YouTube.
That's what's up, man. I appreciate that, man. I try to make sure I bring y'all good content, man. So
I know I sure appreciate it. I tried to call the other day about the LeBron and MJ debate.
Oh man, I wish you would have got through.
Yeah, because the debate is really not about Mike and LeBron. LeBron want to be better than Kobe. That's the whole thing. So the argument to be, well, put him at 2 then. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, because they know he ain't better than Mike. He just want to be better than Kobe.
Yeah. I see where you at. But man, I appreciate the call though. Let me get one more call in here so I can move.
Okay, man, I appreciate you, man.
All right, no doubt. Yeah.
All right.
That Texas phone number, I think that they might have been young. You can call back. So Swish said Bill Russell didn't master the game better than the King. That's correct. He didn't. A lot of people didn't master the game as good as Kareem. So admit that you're biased at Man Down Sports. No, just admit that you don't listen. So I said I grade the player based on a standard and based on who mastered more of the game, and that gets you at a certain point on the list. And then I grade your resume and I put those two together, and that's where you end up on the list when you put those two together. So obviously Bill Russell don't have the game that Hakeem has. So Hakeem grades higher than him as a player, but when you grade the resume, Bill Russell don't grade as high as Hakeem as a player, but when you grade the resume, Bill Russell's resume blows Hakeem's out of the water with the 11 championships, right? So just admit that you don't listen or you don't comprehend It's not that I'm biased, but I will admit I am biased. I'm biased to my own standard. Once I create a standard, and once I bounce that standard off what pure basketball is, I'm biased toward that. So you're right, I am biased. 100%. Caller from Texas, what's up?
What's going on, Mel? I'm surprised Young didn't call in, man, from all the shit you're talking about LeBron, man. Has he called in yet? The guy Young?
Nah, he ain't called in, man. He might be working.
Oh, shit. Oh, hey, Young, I understand, man. Hey, I like when Young come in, man, because he be talking shit, but that dude be having some facts a little bit, man. Not saying that they 100% facts, but I don't know if he Googled it before he called, but he be coming in with his shit, man. Little clipboard, man. He be coming in, man, with shit.
Yeah, you know? For sure.
I don't know about the listeners for. I heard LeBron and people and stuff like that. I don't like talking shit about LeBron, but it's when they talk about the top, and I know everybody got their own subjective think about it, their own little thing about it, whatever. That's cool. I'm only torn because I feel like LeBron don't got a winner mentality, man. Like, how the hell is he top 5, top 10, man? And I'm not trying to talk shit, but you know how some people, like, they don't got that dog in them. They don't got that thing in them. Like, some people are just like, they've been told and praised for so long that they feel like, yeah. But some people ain't got that dog in them, man. And I don't feel like LeBron got that dog in him. And I'm not trying to take away nobody's thoughts on him. I ain't trying to focus nobody top 10, top 5. But I don't think LeBron got that. He don't got that competitive thing in him, man. Like, it's some people out there, man, that's going to play with a broken neck, man. They just want to beat your ass on Thursday, man. I don't think LeBron got that in him, man. I don't think he got it in him like that, man.
Yeah, we like to see that. And I don't know what he got in him or not, man. But, I know whatever it is different from what Mike and Kobe had. I just don't, I don't know how to identify it. And I don't want to identify it because it's something you can't see. You can see the results of it and you can see, you can see the fruit of it, but so I mean, what I would say is MJ is the standard, and I know when someone's not meeting that standard. I say that.
Nah, I understand with that, man. I mean, he's a great player. I mean, it's a lot of great players out there, and at the end of the day, I'm never gonna really 100% bash him. I used to play basketball, and there was a guy on my team that was quote unquote better than me, and we used to play one-on-ones after practice sometimes, and I would beat him. But I knew he was better on the court than me. But I always knew he's not he's not a winner like me. You know how some guys, they good, they go out there, drop their 20. But you might see them smoking the weed. They may go fuck around and go fuck around. Me, I'm really trying to work on my game. I got the jump soles on. I'm running stairs. I'm trying to work on my game. Yeah. And I'm not trying to knock my boy. He had game, but you know how some people got game and they know they got game. They go to the playground, they do their thing. They got game, but they not really like doing the extra shit. And I'm not saying LeBron don't do it. I'm not saying he don't. But when I watch the guy, he's a great player. The guy's great. Well, no knock to that.
You know, Pat Beverly on his podcast, they asked about, he played with Kawhi, he played with LeBron. He said, man, what's the difference? And he said, as far as work, as far as work outside of practice, who's working on their game the most is Kawhi. And he said, who's in the gym working with weights the most is LeBron. And that's how he described it. He said, man, I ain't never played with nobody who worked on their game as much as Kawhi did. You know what I mean? So you might be right about that.
Hey, man. Hey, keep doing your thing. I got a quick question, man. Just real quick. Who's your top, like, all-time greatest? You're going in any era. Who's your best point guard? Like, this guy in any era, 80s, 90s, 2000s, 2010s, like, he going to go in there, he going to dominate, he going to manage the floor, make everybody happy. He don't got to drop 50 on the points, but he's just a badass point guard that can fit in anybody's era and take care of the team, be a great leader, and, just do his thing. Play defense, too. Like who's your number one point guard? I'm just curious.
If I'm doing a greatest of all time list for point guards, it's going to be Magic, Isaiah at number 2. At number 3, I'm probably going to go Steph. At number 4, Oscar. And at number 5 is a debate between J. Kidd, Stockton, Pistol Pete, CP3.
Okay.
Right? You know, you can debate number 5. I usually go J. Kidd, but sometimes I be like, is it time for somebody to take over that number 5 spot for J. Kidd? I don't know. You know, so J. Kidd is my 5 man just because of the defense and you know what he did as a point guard. But number 5 can be had. Number 4 can really be had if you really think about it. But I think the top three. I think the top 3 is Magic, Isaiah, Steph.
Magic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you would take Magic and go in any decade and say, hey, man, let's go to LA Fitness. Drop to LA Fitness. In every era, you will go out there as the point guard and let him do his thing. In any era, right? Pretty much, right?
6'9", can get a bucket. Can get a bucket if you want to, but smart enough to know if I got a guy that's they can get a bucket, I'm gonna set him up. I'm gonna run the offense. I'm gonna run the team. Like that's what your point guard really is supposed to be doing. Like, hey, look, I'm the coach on the floor. I'm gonna make sure our best scorer can get the ball where he want it, and I'm gonna make sure our guys who need a point guard's help to get shots, I'm gonna make sure they get shots. And then what happens when a team is concentrating on your best scorer and concentrating on taking other stuff away from you? That's when the point guard is like, y'all forgot I can score too, and then he just come down and he giving you buckets. That's what Magic did. That's what J. Kidd did. That's what CP3 does. That's what Rondo did. That's what Stockton did, right? You know, those, yeah. So yeah, I'm going with Magic all day long, or either Isaiah.
Okay, I need to watch more videos because I need to see if Magic was a great person or a great. I'm not saying he's not great, but I need to watch more videos to see how he did when he didn't have a whole lot of talent around him. Because anybody can look good. Like I look good if I got a lot of heat around me. If I got knockdown shooters. If I got a big man that dunk on everything, hooking everything, shit, I'll look good if I can hold the ball.
Yeah.
You know,
watch him in college. Watch him at Michigan State.
Okay, Michigan. Okay.
Yeah, watch him at Michigan State.
I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no doubt.
Okay.
All right, let's get one more call in. One more, then we're gone. J Sports 99. I said you was trying to call. You can call back. Said using Mel's list, LGBA, LeBron is top 3 as an athlete, maybe pass after Magic, Kidd, and argument Bird, nothing else. He is top 3 and nothing where is the GOAT thing. I don't know. Caller from Pennsylvania, what's up?
What's up, brother? It's J Sports, man. Jeffrey Young.
What's good? What's your thoughts?
Watch you all the time, brother. I'm really from Jersey. I just moved out here.
Oh, no doubt.
I'll just be using your list so we don't have to go all over the NBA, all over the world. But this LeBron thing is crazy to me. What I mean by that is if you think about the top 3 as anything that got to do with basketball, I'm talking about mentality, shooting, dribbling, passing, defense, and all that stuff. He ranks top 3 in athleticism, maybe passing after, like I put up there after J. Kidd and Magic, maybe between him and Bird. Nothing else. Name one more thing that he ranks in the top 3 off of your list. And why would he be part of any kind of GOAT debate as far as basketball? He's not even top 3 in resume.
It's one of the greatest. It's one of the greatest tricks and greatest mysteries I've ever seen in sports, man. Like this must be how everybody's gonna get tricked into worshiping the Antichrist. Like I don't understand how they smoothly did this, where we just gonna say he's the GOAT and debate him with Mike, and all of a sudden he gets to be number 2. I don't even know how they did that. Like everyone is repeating it. And I mean, it's crazy. It's almost like when Bush lost the election against Gore, but Fox was like, "Nah, Bush won," and everybody was like, "Oh, well, maybe he did win." It's like some type of Jedi mind trick. I don't know how they pulled it off. Like it baffles me. Like I'm like, man, how is this the guy that we're talking about at number 2? Like seriously, it's not even a real debate. So yeah, I don't know.
If you remove that spell they done put on everybody, and for me myself personally, if I went back and I was in hindsight, watch how everybody played and every single thing. And they had a draft. It's people not even on your, it's people like I'm picking Dave Robinson. It's like I'm picking. It's mad people that I would be picking drafting number one if LeBron was on that board. If I'm starting a basketball team. So, like you said, I don't know how they got it off. I appreciate the show. I watch all the time. It's my first time getting a chance to call in, but I'm here for you, brother.
I mean, I appreciate it, man. Thanks, Jeff.
All right.
All right, man. All right, let's move to our last topic.